It's also D-Day for the ANC branches today to make leadership nominations ahead of the party's national elective conference next month. That's set to start on the 16th of December. The current president, Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, whom we were just talking about, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, Lindiwe Sisulu, and Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma are all jostling for the top spots in the party. My colleague, the senior reporter Siphamandla Goge, is following these developments for us now about how the BGMs are going, what is happening on this D-Day for them. Good afternoon, Ncome. So what's the latest you can tell us? Is it indeed D-Day, or should we anticipate a further extension?
I guess we can only find out tomorrow once the ANC has consolidated what has been submitted to the provinces and the national office by its structures, the branches on the ground. If there is a need, which I doubt that they will postpone, because remember, today's deadline is a result of the postponement emanating from the 25th of October deadline. Initially, ANC branches and structures were given up until the 25th of October to conclude their branch general meetings for leadership positions nominations. We're talking about the top 5, or rather the top 6, and also the additional members in terms of the National Executive Committee of the governing party. A number of branches across the country were not ready to do that on the 25th of October or by the 25th of October. Remember that we still have other 2 outstanding provinces that have not convened their provincial conferences, those being the Free State and the Western Cape. However, even those provinces that have convened their provincial conferences, some of their branches were unable to meet the deadline to convene branch general meetings, which are very crucial because they afford an opportunity to branch members of the ANC to exercise their constitutional right when it comes to the issue of nominating for leadership positions and additional members for NEC of the ANC. So a number of branches were not ready to do that. They were granted that postponement, and the deadline was pushed to today, the 7th of November. After this, the expectation is that the NEC of the ANC will then consolidate what would have been submitted, and then a clearer picture will emerge in terms of nominations, who has received nominations from the branches for the position of the President, Deputy President, Secretary General, National Chairperson, Treasurer General, as well as Deputy Secretary General of the governing party. So for now, all the names that have been thrown around, of course, they have received some nominations, but after this process, after the deadline, all those nominations will then be consolidated. A clearer picture will emerge as to who would have met the threshold to qualify to be on the ballot box or the ballot paper for the National Congress of the ANC. Even those who would have not met the threshold by now, they still have a chance come the conference. They could be nominated from the conference floor, but that would be much more difficult because they will need more numbers and votes to meet the threshold to be considered for their names to pass through and go to the ballot paper. So this exercise is crucial because at least ANC members after today are likely going to have a clearer understanding of who has been nominated for what position.
Now, can I just ask a question, Ncome? If there's anybody who might enlighten me, is you. There are provinces of the ANC that they have not held their conferences. Free State is one of them, I think, and the Western Cape is the other one. I don't know if there's a third one, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. In those instances where there's been no provincial leadership and a new provincial executive committee to mobilize the branches ahead of this conference, should we expect there will be delegates from the branches directly? I don't know how it would work from the Free State and the Western Cape present at the National Elective Conference.
That is true. 2 provinces of the ANC have been struggling to convene their provincial conferences, the Free State and the Western Cape. Those are the only 2 provinces. But it's not so much of a train smash simply because the National Congress of the ANC is the conference of the branches. With or without the PEC, branches of the ANC from those provinces will be able to send delegates to the National Congress. However, it does have an impact, and it does put the party in the provinces somehow in a very awkward position, because each and every vote counts. If you do not have a duly elected provincial executive committee, they will not go to the conference as the PEC. That will affect your chances and the numbers in terms of the composition. However, delegates from those provinces will be able to convene their branch general meetings, of course being supervised and led by the provincial task team or the interim provincial committees that are in place overseeing the political affairs of those provinces. However, it does come with some sort of negative how can I put it? In a way, it decreases their chances and their numbers, because the delegation that they will be sending to the National Congress will not comprise of PECs. Therefore, the numbers will reduce. Whoever they will decide to vote for will be at a very disadvantageous position, because the numbers will not be able to match what initially they would have thought. However, be that as it may, the National Congress is the conference of the branches of the ANC. With or without PECs in place, they qualify to go to the National Congress and make their input and elect their national leadership.
Yeah, just finally, Ngome, very briefly, I mentioned some names jostling for the top post of president to challenge Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, who's going for a second term. I've mentioned the likes of Zweli Mkhize, Lindiwe, Sisulu, and Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma. Is the KZN still backing Zweli Mkhize, for example? Are there other new names you are aware of for the presidency of the ANC?
The Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal still pushes for Dr. Zweli Mkhize. About 2 hours ago, I interviewed Provincial Secretary Bheki Mtolo, who confirmed that their position is still Dr. Zweli Mkhize. However, Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma is from this province, and there are some branches who are said to have nominated her. So those are the two names from KwaZulu-Natal. However, you've got the name of ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa, Lindiwe, Sisulu in the mix. But most interestingly is the position of the Deputy President of the ANC. Too many names have been mentioned there, including the current Deputy President David Mabuza. You've got Paul Mashatile, who's favored by KwaZulu-Natal and other provinces, and Mamologo Kubai features there in the mix. There was Ronald Lamula also there. Senzo Mchunu is said to be favored by the slate of President Cyril Ramaphosa. So after today's deadline, at least there will be some clearer understanding as to who has been nominated for what position.
Thank you very much, Ngome, for that update. That's Siphamandla Goge, our senior reporter there in Durban, just giving us an update, the latest about the ANC's own internal processes of branch nominations ahead. The BGMs, the branch general meetings, that the deadline is today for them to nominate who they want in the top leadership positions of the governing party at the National Elective Conference next month.